watching Tune In Tuesday. Thank you for joining us. How this works is I'm going to start things off and ask Fern the, super exciting questions that I ask everyone at the beginning. But in the meantime, you're more than welcome to click the Q&A button if you're watching on Zoom, or comment in the comment section on the Facebook Live if you're watching on Facebook. And if you have questions, Fern and I will try to answer them for you. So with that, I'm going to start with the question I ask everyone at the beginning, which is, what brought you to the PADS family, Fern? And tell us a little bit about your story with PADS and kind of what brought you to us.
I have a rare autoimmune neuropathic pain condition called CRPS, complex regional pain syndrome, and I have it through my whole body. And I had been pretty much bedbound for a long time, watching different shows. And one of the ones I would watch on Monday night was Dogs with Jaws. And that kind of got me thinking that, hey, maybe this would be something that would work for me. And so I wrote to PADS and asked and was accepted. I waited 2.5 years, and I did not realize just how wonderful having a service dog was going to be, and how clearly impactful to the positive that she has been in all the years that I've had her. So I think that's 8 years now.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah, it goes back a long ways. So
yeah. Yes, and we are a very good team. She gave me the gears at class and wouldn't do. I think I was the only one that was consistently stuck outside in the rain because she would not push the button. Well, the staff inside smiled encouragingly and waited until I could convince her to do it. And then Ron took me aside when I was frustrated and said, when you win, she will be gold in your life. And the first time he came out to test her again, he said, see what I mean? So it was very clear that she had decided I was her person. And she still will give me some gears sometimes just to tease me. But other than that, she just enjoys it. She's a happy camper when it comes to doing anything else.
That's awesome. He is a wise man. It is very true that many of these dogs, we talk about them giving us the woof you kind of look, where it's like, why should I? And that bond piece and the earning their trust and everything else is such an important piece of the puzzle. They're not machines, they're creatures. And just like people, some people are those kinds of golden retriever-y type people that are just like, or border collie maybe, that are like, what do you want me to do? I'll do it no matter who you are, anytime, any place. And then there are some that are like, tell me a little bit more about why this is beneficial to me as well as you. But that's awesome. Well, so tell us a little bit about what Bella does for you. So how does she help? What kinds of skills does she do?
Wow, she has learned a lot more skills since being with me. And some of the ones that she came with, we don't use as much, but it's amazing how much she remembers. It could be years, and I would suddenly ask her and she would do exactly that, which is truly amazing to me.
It's amazing.
And a sign of good training.
Mm-hmm.
But I've also challenged her a lot, because once she started giving me energy to go places, then I wanted to go. And she has been on airplanes, on cruise ships. She's been to Disney twice because our son was working there, and so we went to see him on 2 different years. And she's come all the way out here to the east and encountered snow The first time when we came looking for a house was November, and it snowed overnight. And we walked her out of the hotel, and she stepped in that snow and thought, what the heck is this? And fell over with all four paws out. And I thought, my service dog needs a service dog. But she has grown to love it. She will submarine herself and push her snout through the snow like it's the best fun ever. But she does a lot. She opens and closes doors for me. That includes the fridge, cupboard doors, closet doors, the drawers for my clothes. She'll put laundry in the washing machine and move it to the dryer and take it out of the dryer. She will go and get a phone, which I'm here alone now since my husband and I moved east without our children. And so I wondered how I was going to cope with that. And sure enough, I coped just fine because she's doing it. If I fall and I need her, I will call her, she'll come running, and she will find a phone because they're not always hung up where they need to be, but she knows where to look. She'll go get my slippers. She gets the paper in the morning and brings it to my chair. She recycles. So that was a fun one. Just recently we remodeled our kitchen and I started putting her dish in a drawer behind two doors. And so when one of the trainers was here this year, I asked her to help me teach her how to get low enough because I'd never asked her to go down to close something. So now she very happily does that. And we had another dog that used to announce when they had to go outside. And after he died, Bella doesn't announce. She sits there quietly. So if I'm not in the room, I don't know. And so I hung a bell on the back door and she rings it. So now she can go outside. But I think I might need her bell on the outside because occasionally we forget we let her out and she is stuck outside for a little longer than she would like.
She sits out there patiently waiting.
Yes.
I have one that never barks, but if she gets forgotten outside, she will let out one very high-pitched bark, like I'm still here.
Even the high-pitched whine, if we have forgotten and it's cold.
Oh
So,
dear.
yeah.
Well, and it does get cold there for sure, doesn't it?
We feel very bad. The other things that she does is she developed an understanding of my energy level. And when I was going to the pool for exercise, then she would come to the side of the pool. She would leave the spot where I had put her and walk to the side of the pool and stand there and stare at me. And I would tell her, go back, go on your bed. And she would just stand there and stare at me. And I realized that she was saying, no, you need to get out. And if I didn't listen, I paid later because I had overextended my energy. And she seems to know that. She picked it up pretty much from the first year we were together and has controlled that ever since. So if we're out visiting other people, she will start pushing me that it's time to go. And I've learned to listen and I've learned to be thankful that she's on top of that. But on days when I am really not well and I'm not feeling good, and a lot of that has been lately, she will actually climb up on the bed with me where normally she needs to be asked. And she will lay really close all along the side of my body. And it's almost a huge comfort. And it's like she knows I need her there. Mm-hmm. And that's been, really nice because when I've been in Emerge, she will climb up onto the gurney and then she just sits there as happy as could be looking around. and the staff are thrilled to have a dog there. So it takes what could be a really unhappy time and makes it almost joyful. People who come to see me are thrilled that the dog is there. And whenever I've had to have a scan or something, they're thrilled to take her into the other room away from the x-ray. So, you know, everything, it's almost like it's a party. It's just nice.
Well, they do absolutely get smiles wherever they go. And I think that's one of the things that I probably noticed the most was when I started using my chair, I didn't always have Cadence with me, and I didn't realize how different the world is from a chair. Everybody looks away, like they don't want to stare, but then it kind of makes the world this not friendly place. And then you go with the dog and it's night and day. Like it's just, everybody smiles and everybody wants to say hello and ask you about the dog, which, I mean, sometimes you just need to get your groceries. But that being said, the smiles are lovely. So
they are. And
so
you're 100% correct. People used to run into me by trying not to look at me in my wheelchair. And they would talk to my husband and say, would she like something to drink or whatever? And he would always look at me and say, would you like something to drink? And then I would tell him, and he would look at her and say, she'd like, you know, just so he was making a point.
Yeah.
But now they see the dog and there's no awkwardness. They just, and it's like I joined the world of the living again.
Yeah, that's amazing. We've got a few questions that are coming in here. So for those of you that have just joined us, I see our numbers have kind of climbed like crazy since the last time I said this. If you have questions, you can either click the Q&A button on Zoom if you're watching on Zoom. If you're watching on Facebook Live, you can just throw your questions in the comment section. So we had one person asking about an autism service dog for their son. Unfortunately, PADS doesn't train autism service dogs, but our friends at BC and Alberta Guide Dogs do. And so if you live in BC, that would be the organization to reach out to. And then Tracy, who's one of our staff, was just saying, I think I just watched an episode about you on Caller of Duty. And was that you and Bella? So, so the two of you had those shows that you watched that inspired you to get a service dog in the first place. You then became featured. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, okay. I think that was back in 2016.
Yeah, it was, I was like, it was a while ago, but yeah, obviously there's reruns somewhere.
Well, if you want to watch it, you can go on animalplanet.ca. It's not the .com one, it's the .ca. And then go to shows, and it's Caller of Duty, so a dog collar.
Yeah.
First season, because we were the first season. And she is in all of the clips at the front where they're showing different episodes. And we are on episode 6, the last half. So the last 12 minutes is us.
Okay, well, we will throw a link in the comment section here once we're off the call. So if people want to watch that, they can. That's super fun. And yeah, we've got a few comments on Zoom. One from Faith, becoming a movie star sister. So I'm assuming that's your sister. And then I'm just looking at the questions here. Oh, there's a comment from Diane who says, I remember Bella from training when I was raising her brother Potter. So it's great to hear she's so great. Potter had many of the same traits, even though he didn't qualify because of health issues. So yeah, it's so interesting to see the similarities and differences between littermates. They're often very similar and often very different at the same time. So, but that's fantastic. So tell us a little bit about, so she was your first service dog, and it's really interesting to hear how her skills have adapted over time. And I love that you were able to see, it was Margaret that was out to see you, I believe, and kind of even now. So how old is Bella now? I want to say, is she 9?
She's 11.
Oh, she's 11. Oh my goodness, time flies. So yeah, so to still be learning new skills at 10, 11 years old is pretty darn fantastic.
And I was asking, because I was worried because her brother is gone,
Yeah.
right? So, and that was a sad thing.
Yeah.
And so I started worrying that I might be needing to look for a replacement. And yet, after all these years, it's kind of symbiotic at this point that she knows what I need.
Mhm.
She still makes me say it because she's stubborn that way. But it's, I'm going to ignore that. It looks like it's somebody that wants to be.
So you-
But anyways, I was worried that, you know, she was going to have to. And Tara said, or Margaret said, no, based on her response to us teaching her this little thing, I would say she's keen for a while still, which
Yeah.
is very encouraging for me.
Yeah.
And I just had her into the vet, and the vet said she couldn't believe that this was an 11-year-old, that she just looks so good.
Yeah.
And I said to them, Pat was very clear with me that she was not to be treated like a pet, and her weight needs to be monitored and everything else. So I said, she's always been, you know, she'll go up and down based on weather or whether I have not been able to go out. But I've taught her to walk on the treadmill when we can't get outside. So
that's awesome.
she learned that amazingly fast. It took 10 minutes. It was, you know, and we don't do it until winter again, and she still remembers. She just thinks it's great. She'll walk for half an hour, and then she gets off and runs around in circles, you know, and acts like she's crazy.
That's so fun. Well, especially where you are, where there's a lot of snow, and you know, it's one of those things where we don't get snow as often here, but it is something that I become painfully aware of is wheelchairs and snow are not good friends. So so it makes it very hard to exercise a dog when the snow comes out. So that's fantastic that she's got a treadmill to kind of get her going. So and I know, I mean, the dogs thrive on exercise and staying fit. And it's really interesting to see, been with pads for a long time, is just to see how different dogs from the same litter will age depending on how kind of fit they've been kept throughout their life, right? I look at, you know, I think about Caber, who's I think 13 now. And he is still, you know, zooming around at the park with, you know, 4-year-old Puma and, you know, having fun. And, you know, whereas some of his litter mates, for example, have already kind of passed away. Now, some of those have nothing to do with weight, but, you know, I think it's always interesting to see the impact that has on not only lifespan, but also just their mental fitness and everything else. But it makes sense. Same with people, right? The fitter we are. And
but I also think that the way that Pat controls the line, it's very obvious that the dogs who are graduating and working are healthy dogs. Like, they don't have the hip problems. They're not showing up.
Yeah.
Bella has never had an ear infection.
Yeah.
And she's a lab and she swims. Like, it's amazing to me. And so I think, yeah, we can't control each individual dog's health.
No,
but
there's so many factors.
Start with good genetics.
Yeah.
And, you know, and because they share internationally, there isn't this group of dogs that just belong to pads that are they're trading them around so that the lines are always as healthy and robust as they can be.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's one of the things that, like, we're always striving for healthier dogs. And I mean, we're still working to eliminate allergies, which is one of the things that causes ear infections. We have it in some of our lines, but it's one of our top priorities to kind of breed that out. But we're always kind of striving. I mean, I think about, the days when Jackie used to sit by the fax machine waiting for the results to come in from the hip x-rays on our puppies in training. And often, half a litter would have to be cut from training because they would come back with poorer hips or fairer hips. And, now I can't remember the last time we had to release a dog for hip dysplasia. Like, it's just something that, we don't see a lot of in our lines anymore, which is fantastic. And that's the goal of good breeding. So, and the goal really at the end of the day is to have dogs like Bella, who, are still going strong at 11 years old and eager to learn new things and keep working. That's amazing. So, I think as clients too, our dream is that our dogs will live forever, but the more years we can get with them, the better, right? So having to retire a dog at 8 or 9 years old is really, really hard. But to have a dog that, can keep working when they're 10 or 11 and still love the work and love getting up in the morning and doing their job is, the dream. So way to go, Bella.
Blessed. I feel very blessed because
Yeah.
I was given the most stubborn dog of my class. And her stubbornness just makes me laugh because often she's just being silly. And, if we used to have, before COVID, we used to have like Bible study groups that would come. And if there was a crowd for any reason, she will march around with that, whatever she's got, my slipper or my phone. She just has to make sure everybody sees it first.
Well, and I laugh. What I remember is back in puppy raising days, her nickname was not Bella. So her full name is Bellatrix. Her nickname was Tricky, which I think actually suits her personality very well, doesn't it?
Yeah, I didn't know it at the time, but totally.
Yeah, little Miss Tricky. So but yeah, so it's interesting to see what they're like. So we have a couple questions, and I know I want to let you go so you can have your supper because we've got quite a time change here, but a couple of people have asked about puppy raising or helping with our puppy program. And so we are absolutely recruiting puppy raisers right now. We're looking for new people. We've got some litters coming that'll be needing raisers in the new year. And so if you're interested in volunteering with us, if you go to pads.ca/volunteer, we'll put that link in the comments as soon as I sign off here. For anybody that's interested, we are always looking for people to help raise our puppies. We're also looking for people that are willing to help with our advanced sitting program. So we're looking for advanced sitters. So those are people that take our dogs that live at the PADS campus or live with one of our trainers during the week. So we need some people in Chilliwack as well as some people for our Burnaby campus. And so that information as well is on pads.ca/volunteer. So you can learn more about what that role looks like. And it is a big commitment. It's not all just cute puppy cuddles. There's a lot of work involved, but then you get to be part of the team that makes an extraordinary dog like Bella happen.
Something about that?
Please.
I have to say that the people that fostered Bella did an amazing job. I have never, other than on the cruise ship, I have not encountered any situation that I've put her in that she didn't feel completely comfortable. And that included fireworks at Disney. It included being on boats and trains. We've been on the train, we've been on an airplane. They just did an amazing job. She is just not put off at all. And when I say on the cruise, the only reason that she had a really hard time in the beginning is because to her, the relief box was still inside. And she did not want to go to the bathroom. And we had a happy dance with her when she finally succeeded because we knew it was a big deal. And she did great after that. So I just thank the raisers 100% for, they are the ones that introduce these dogs to all these different ways and places and vehicles. And she like I said, I wondered about her the first time I flew with her. The only thing is she looks up if there's a lot of turbulence, and it's more like, are you okay, mom? Rather than, you know, it's a problem for her.
Yeah.
So I just want to say that if you become a puppy raiser, you are invaluable to people like me who get them afterwards.
Absolutely. And I think that's something too that people don't always realize is that for us, like to do what we do without our puppy raisers would be an impossibility, because it's taking dogs to work, to the hockey game, to medical appointments. Like literally we have to pay somebody 24/7 to have a dog and just live life with them. And so we are so, so grateful to those volunteers that are willing to have a fluffy little sidekick next to them to take in all those adventures and sounds and sights and have them just become a normal part of their world. Because it's definitely not normal to a dog to be on an airplane. It's not normal to a dog to go on a cruise ship. But also I think that's also evidence to, one, how good her training was, that she was like, I am not supposed to go to the bathroom inside. But also that her adaptability, that once she figured it out, or kind of, you know, burst one or the other, that she was able to kind of then process that information and go, okay, well, clearly the rules are different here, but when I get home, the rules are still the same, right? Like I've not ruined my training by doing that. So that's fantastic. So, oh, somebody says they have the pads cold. So, which is pad speak for those that don't know of the sniffles and maybe some leaky eyes. So, but thank you so much, Fern, for taking the time to join us today. Any chance, because people will ask me and give me a hard time, if not, that we could get Fern or Bella into my lap?
Oh,
is she nearby?
she went out, but let me see. Bella, here. There she comes.
Just because anytime I do Tune In Tuesday without the dog being visible, people are like, but what about the dog? So,
Exactly. Bella here.
hey, pretty girl. Oh my goodness. Oh, she looks wonderful, Fern.
Yes, sorry.
She hasn't changed one bit.
Good.
Not one bit. So
Doing good.
what a good girl. She's like, what is happening? This is all very exciting and not what I normally do.
And you wanted me. Here I am.
Yeah.
Here I am.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us. We're going to sign off now and let Fern and Bella probably go have their supper. And thank you for jumping on with us. And we've got lots of guests lined up for December. It is a treat to us, but also a treat to our supporters and followers of just kind of getting back into the groove and sharing a little bit of the joy that you have helped kind of create throughout a very tough year. But a lot of people have kind of stood by pads through this crazy, crazy time. And so we're very grateful for your time and support this year. And this is just one of the ways that we're saying thank you. So there will be puppies. We're going to have a visit from Miranda, who's one of our advanced trainers, but also happens to be Bellatrix's puppy raiser. Way back when, that's when she first, well, early days for Miranda with us before she was on staff. So, but yeah, so we've got some great guests kind of coming down the pike. So join us next week and the week after, and yeah, week after that. So, and thank you so much, Fern. And if you want to see what the lineup looks like, you can go to pads.ca/tune in Tuesday, and there is hyphens in between the tune and the in and the Tuesday. So
All right. Well,
thanks, Fern.
And right. I'm happy to always talk about her.
Thank you so much for joining us. Bye now.
Welcome. Thank you. Bye.